The Chicago Bears' boyish-looking rookie quarterback Jim McMahon seems to have the makings of a first-rate NFL signal caller. That is, if he learns to live with the inherent disappointments of playing in Chicago. Last week against St. Louis, McMahon's first pass of the day was gathered in by Ricky Watts for an apparent touchdown. But alas, a holding penalty nullified the play. It took McMahon nearly 4 quarters to duplicate the feat. Midway through the final period, Emery Moorhead's 9-yard catch tied the score at 7. Suddenly, an overtime period loomed ominously on the horizon. Thank heavens for Cardinal kicker Neil O'Donohue. O'Donohue's 48-yard field goal in the game's closing seconds proved to be the margin of victory in a game that was so very close and yet so very far from being exciting. There was no shortage of excitement in Denver's Mile High Stadium, where the NFL's all-time punt return king added another jewel to his crown. For number 80 Rick Upchurch, it was his second punt return touchdown of the season and the 8th of his remarkable career. Upchurch's 78-yard gem inspired the Mile High faithful, but it did not undo the damage done defensively by the Kansas City Chiefs' 2 interceptions. In the second period, number 44, cornerback Eric Harris, carried the first Chief interception 56 yards for a Kansas City score. In the final quarter, the downfield felon was safety man Gary Barbaro, number 26, but the results were the same. Two interceptions, a pair of offensive touchdowns, and 3 Nick Lowry field goals added up to a 37-16 Kansas City victory, and another disappointing home field defeat for the struggling Denver Broncos. The Detroit Lions also lost at home, but not before quarterback Gary Danielson uncorked a beauty. Leonard Thompson's 70-yard catch and carry was the longest scoring play in the game, but Minnesota Viking receiver Terry LeCounte's catch was the prettiest. Viking quarterback Tommy Kramer answered Detroit's big play score with 3 first-half touchdown passes, 1 to LeCounte and 2 to number 87 Leo Lewis, this one coming on the first half's final play. Big yardage scoring plays can take the fight out of a team. And last Sunday, the Vikings recorded several. The Lions defense took it on the chin in the first half. Then late in the game, with the outcome still in doubt, it was the Lion offense that was victimized. Grabbing the bouncing ball was nose tackle Charlie Johnson, who rambled 44 yards for the game's clinching score. Detroit tallied twice in the game's closing seconds, but Minnesota's big play barrage was too much to overcome as the Vikings prevailed 34-31, keeping their NFC playoff hopes very much alive. In the Los Angeles Coliseum, the Rams' only incentive was pride. But after scoring the game's first 2 touchdowns, the Rams did their weekly possum imitation, allowing Los Angeles' newest team to get back in the contest. By the fourth quarter, the Rams were clinging desperately to a 1-point lead. Finally, with just seconds left in the game, Raider running back Marcus Allen put the Rams out of their misery. The Los Angeles Raiders have made a season out of overcoming big deficits to win. The Los Angeles Rams have done just the opposite. The Raiders are going to the playoffs. The Rams are going to the dogs. In Washington, the New York Giants and quarterback Scott Brunner put their 3-game winning streak on the line against the Redskins. Brunner to Johnny Perkins gave the Giants a lead that they would hold throughout most of the contest. But Washington kept the game close by blitzing their linebackers, like number 57, Rich Malott. Malott shot down Brunner 3 times. However, Washington's quarterback, Joe Theismann, was also staring down the barrel of a loaded gun. The Giants' defense forced Theismann to throw 4 interceptions. However, his 252 yards passing and Joe Washington's nifty 22-yard touchdown run kept the Redskins within striking distance. This score marked only the 3rd Washington touchdown in the team's last 17 quarters. A repeat shows that although Joe Washington made an exceptional run while cutting back against the grain, it was a block by quarterback Joe Theismann that cleared the final obstacle for Washington. Inspired by such efforts, the Redskins kept fighting back, and trailing 14-12 with only 9 seconds remaining, their last chance took the field. Earlier, place kicker Mark Mosley's 2 kicks had tied an NFL record for consecutive field goals with 20. But now it would take a 42-yarder through a snowstorm to break the record and win it for Washington. With an NFL record of 21 straight field goals, Mosley has literally kicked Washington into the playoffs. He has scored 32 of Washington's last 50 points, and 4 times his boots have provided the margin of victory. In Cleveland, the decision to replace quarterback Brian Sipe with number 16 Paul McDonald was made in an attempt to inject some life into the Browns' offense. But against Pittsburgh, the magic formula that once made this attack one of the league's most exciting again remained beyond their grasp. Fortunately for Cleveland, Pittsburgh fared no better, something that Cleveland's defense, led by Hanford Dixon, made sure of. Dixon's sack and 3 interceptions held Terry Bradshaw's offense in check when it counted most, and Paul McDonald mustered just enough offense to produce a 10-9 upset. The victory kept the Browns' faint playoff hopes alive as they improved their record to 3-4. Pittsburgh fell to 4-3 as everyone waits to see if the team that was so dominant before the strike will return in time for this year's playoff tournament. Last Sunday, the Philadelphia Eagles weren't thinking playoffs. They were just thinking about how good a win would taste. Having lost their last 4 games, they needed a turkey dinner with all the trimmings. And fortunately for them, the Houston Oilers came gobbling into town. The Oilers' success on this Sunday was more by accident than by design. and their improvisations were no match for the Eagles' suddenly perfect execution. A 45-yard pass from Ron Jaworski to number 1 draft pick Mike Quick was but one of many big plays the Eagles cooked up during this holiday feast. Running back Wilbert Montgomery proved to have the biggest appetite as he devoured 147 yards rushing. Montgomery's 90-yard run was the longest in the NFL in 10 years and was his 3rd touchdown of the day. Defensively, the Eagles sacked Archie Manning 7 times and came up with 4 interceptions. Cornerback Richard Blackmore's 20-yard touchdown return was but a part of a badly needed 35-14 Philadelphia banquet, as the Eagles try to convince themselves and their many skeptics that their appetite for achievement is still as ravenous as ever. Last Sunday, visions of a possible playoff berth put a big old smile on the face of Bum Phillips. Unfortunately, the Cowboys don't take kindly to strangers enjoying themselves in Dallas. New Orleans moseyed into town with the NFC's number 1 ranked defense. But in their showdown with the Cowboys offense, the Saints didn't even get their gun out of the holster. Number 33, Tony Dorsett, gained over 100 yards and scored twice, while Danny White executed a perfect play fake that left Doug Cosby wide open as Dallas jumped to a 21-0 lead. In a relatively one-sided game, New Orleans' only firepower was provided by running back George Rogers, number 38. Rogers rushed for a club record 166 yards and scored the Saints' only touchdown in a 21-7 defeat. While Rogers' fine effort was in vain, Tampa Bay running back Melvin Carver's rushing performance helped produce more favorable results. Against the Buffalo Bills, the rookie from Nevada, Las Vegas cashed in on both his rushing and receiving talents. Carver's 2 scores lifted the Bucs to a 24-16 fourth quarter lead. However, Joe Ferguson's gimpy knees proved to be an ace in the hole as he hobbled into the end zone to tighten the score at 24-23. Unfortunately, minutes later, with time running out, Ferguson, like a gambler down to his last chip, was forced to go for it all. Ferguson's gamble came up short as Neil Colsey's interception preserved the Bucs' 1-point win. The victory upped Tampa Bay's record to 3-4. However, with only 2 games left, their playoff chances appear doubtful. Unlike the New York Jets, whose 5 wins have put them in Fat City. Last Sunday, the Jets hoped to gorge themselves even further with a victory over Miami. However, while the offense feasted on the Dolphins for 16 first-half points, it was obvious the Jet defense didn't care for seafood. Number 37, Andra Franklin's touchdown run ruined New York's appetite, and quarterback David Woodley caused a bad case of indigestion in the Jets secondary with a touchdown pass to Duriel Harris. Harris's catch put the Dolphins on top 17-16 at the half. The Jets pulled ahead with a field goal early in the fourth quarter, but with only 7 seconds remaining, the outcome of the game rested on the instep of Miami kicker Uwe van Schamen. Van Schamen's 47-yard field goal was good, lifting the Dolphins to a 20-19 win. Miami's victory evened both teams' records at 5-2 and marked the Dolphins' first win at home over New York in 6 years, finally putting an end to the Jets' jinx. To properly navigate one's way through the National Football League, appropriate headgear and eyewear are essential. And for parts of last Sunday afternoon in Baltimore, radar was optional. The Green Bay Packers have cast more than a few chances to the wind in 1982 and have used their end around as often as an off-tackle slant. But a twist here and there still adds an element of surprise. James Lofton's 43-yard toss to John Jefferson was the Packers' longest play of the day, but one of their shortest counted for a lot more. Lynn Dickey's 1-yard scoring pass to tight end John Thompson, number 87, helped the Packers take a 20-6 lead in the final period. But it was not a comfortable lead, as the Colts made second efforts a matter of course to drag down the Green Bay attack. The Colts offense finally made it the contest when rookie quarterback Mike Pagel hit first-year receiver Matt Bouza for a score to creep within a touchdown, 20-13. Five minutes later, another member of the Colts Kitty Corps put the game into overtime. Randy McMillan tied the game at 20 apiece with his version of the end around. Neither team could score in the extra period, but for the Colts, the young and the winless, the 20-20 tie was a big step toward respectability. Snow never falls inside the Seattle Kingdome, but it's that time of year when the Seahawks migrate south, out of contention. After showing some spunk and promise in recent weeks, Seattle met the New England Patriots and got their travel vouchers stamped. Seattle quarterback Jim Zorn, intercepted but 4 times all season, was intercepted 4 times alone by the Patriots. Cornerback Mike Haynes, number 40, had 2 Patriot thefts, and one in the fourth period put the lock on New England's second straight shutout. Winners of only 2 games the year before, the upstart Patriots tipped their scale to 4 wins, 3 losses. The only tipping going on in San Francisco involves hoisting a farewell toast to the 49ers, whose Super Bowl trophy was tarnished once more, this time by the blitzing Atlanta Falcons. Down 7-3, the streaking Falcons released their stable of thoroughbreds and took the harness off of running back extraordinaire William Andrews, number 31. Andrews' 44-yard march through the San Francisco secondary made more than a few 49ers appear like onlookers at a parade. While William Andrews wore down the 49ers with 176 total yards, quarterback Steve Bartkowski just plain fooled them with a fake up the middle and a long, lonely bootleg to score one of 2 Falcon touchdowns. The 17-7 win was Atlanta's 5th of 82 and topped off a record-breaking week in the NFL. But the song sung in San Francisco was one tune the 49ers would rather not hear.